Have you ever thought about who might become the next UFC champion in 2024 with the potential to dominate the division for years to come? With 11 title changes, including 2 interim champions in 2023, the opening question for fight fans is, who will be the top upcoming fighters of 2024? Grab your popcorn and take a comfortable seat, as we will cover those names. And if you guys enjoy this video, please subscribe and be the force behind our push to 10,000 subscribers. Let's do this. Shavkat Arakmanov. When you have an undefeated record of 18 victories with none of the opponents surviving to hear the final horn, that speaks volume. The Nomad has been setting the UFC on fire ever since his UFC debut in 2020, blasting through opposition with jaw-dropping knockouts and tight submissions, securing his place as one of the hottest upcoming contenders for 2024. Shavkat Arakmanov was welcomed to the big league by the UFC vet, Alex Oliveira, and the Nomad needed only a minute to cut his oxygen supplies. Next on the list was the high-level BJJ black belt Michel Prazeres, whom Shavkat beat in his own game. The Kazakh fighter won his first performance of the night bonus against Carlston Harris, where he launched a vicious spinning hook kick, followed by a barrage of strikes. He continued the tradition with Neil Magny next, when he pulled a slick guillotine choke in the first round. After going to war with Jeff Neal, emerging victorious in the end, and a masterclass performance against Stephen Thompson, Shavkat is now ranked number 3 in the UFC welterweight division. We can't know precisely when, but we can be confident that the Nomad will fight for the title in the near future. Tom Aspinall. Okay, I know what you're going to say. Tom Aspinall should be considered the true UFC heavyweight champion, and that's a reasonable argument, especially after his flawless performance against Sergey Pavlovich. However, it's only a matter of time until the Englishman fights for the undisputed title, and it will most certainly be this year. It looks like Dana White and the UFC are lobbying for John Jones versus Stipe Miocic's fight for the real belt, but according to many fans, the actual belt should belong to Tom. There are 2 possible scenarios in this situation. Either the winner of John Jones versus Stipe fights Tom Aspinall for the undisputed belt, or they relinquish the belt and let Tom fight the next heavyweight contender to determine the undisputed champion. Either way, the Englishman is destined to be the next heavyweight king, and we as fight fans can only wait to see how. Umar Nurmagomedov. Just like his cousin Khabib, Umar Nurmagomedov is an undefeated athlete with 16 wins, including 9 confirmed kills. When we hear about a fighter coming from Dagestan, Russia, the first thing that comes to mind is that he is probably a powerful wrestler who would take you down, drag you against the cage, and unleash punishment from the top position. However, Umar is a little bit different than that. He is primarily a striker with a Muay Thai background, and he loves standing in the middle of the octagon and exchanging dynamites with the opposition. He strangled Sergey Morozov in his UFC debut and choked Brian Kelleher in the first round next. Umar then dominated the next bout against Nate Maness before reminding Raoni Barcelos how fragile the human torso is. Khabib's cousin is only 28 years old and ranked number 13, and most people would say that he doesn't deserve a title shot anytime soon. However, considering the star power behind his surname, and let's say he has 2 more spectacular performances in the octagon, we might see him fight for the title in 2024. Brendan Allen. You go on the ground with this guy, he will undoubtedly give you the option to tap, snap, or nap. Brendan Allen's jiu-jitsu is truly on another level. How many fighters have the honor to say they have submitted the 3rd-degree BJJ black belt Andre Muniz and strangled the guy with the most dangerous guard in the division, Paul Craig? Brendan Allen is one of the most well-rounded fighters on the roster and is now on a 6-fight winning streak. 3 of his last 4 fights won performances of the night bonuses, and he beat 5 of his last 6 opponents via rear naked choke, polishing this submission to perfection. Only 4 of his 23 victories have seen the judges' scores, which indicate that this American is not keen on taking prisoners. Brendan Allen is number 7 in the UFC middleweight rankings and is slowly but surely knocking on the UFC title door. Belal Muhammad. Belal is on a 10-fight unbeaten streak, and in an 8-year period, he lost only once. However, despite the success, he never received the love and support from the fans, and there are multiple factors involved in it. The biggest reason is his boring fighting style. He doesn't have that killer instinct to finish a fight, with 17 of his 23 victories going the distance. The funny thing is that his nickname is Remember the Name, which some fans modified to call him Remember the Decision. Well, love him or hate him, Belal, what was his name? Oh, Belal Muhammad is set to fight for the title against Leon Edwards next. So despite the criticism and lack of respect, he might change that perspective about him if he beats Leon spectacularly. Have you seen what he did against Sean Brady? That's the kind of performance Belal Muhammad needs against Edwards to earn the love and support, but considering how good Leon has become, it's tough to predict such a scenario. Anyway, after winning 5 in a row and being scheduled to fight for the title next, Belal rightfully deserves a spot on this list. Do you guys agree with it? Mohamed Mokaev. Mokaev is the kind of fighter who treats his opponents like a UPS loader treats your fragile cargo. Boasting an impressive 23-0 record as an amateur and 11-0 as a professional, there is no doubt that this kid knows how to fight. He made his UFC debut in 2022 against Cody Durden, and the whole spectacle lasted for 58 seconds. The Dagestani native won his next bout unanimously and finished 2022 with a crafty armbar submission against the BJJ black belt Malcolm Gordon. As if he had a GPS for success, Mokaev continued his successful run in 2023 by beating Jafel Filho via a neck crank and giving Tim Elliott the option to tap or nap next. By utilizing his superior wrestling, Mokaev bulldozed through UFC opponents and is now number 8 in the UFC flyweight rankings. He's a fight or two away from earning a shot at the title, so don't sleep on this guy. We might witness the emergence of the next Khabib in 2024. Tatiana Suarez. Besides Dominique Cruz, Tatiana Suarez is another example of an elite competitor who can't catch a break due to injuries. Since she joined the big league on July 8, 2016, Tatiana went on a 5-fight winning streak, dominating the adversaries with her unmatched wrestling. And then, as you already know, injuries prevented the American from achieving her goal. However, after 4 years of layoff, Suarez made a statement upon her return by sending Montana De La Rosa straight to the gallows and replicated that move against Jessica Andrade 6 months later. Being undefeated with a 10-0 record and finishing 7 of her opponents, Tatiana Suarez might be the next Ronda Rousey of MMA, and it might all start with winning the belt in 2024. However, winning the strawweight belt is a high mountain to climb, and on top of that mountain is Weili Zhang. However, if someone has the perfect style of beating the Chinese champion, that's undoubtedly Tatiana Suarez. Magomed Ankalaev. After going 8-0 in local MMA organizations, the UFC matchmakers could not ignore such talent and signed Ankalaev to the promotion. Well, his debut fight did not go as he wanted, and he was submitted in the last round of the fight by Paul Craig. But ever since that loss, Magomed Ankalaev has been on a killing spree. This Russian hasn't been defeated since 2018, with 10 UFC competitors tasting the bitterness of defeat at the hands of Ankalaev. And his notable victories over Ian Cutelaba, Nikita Krylov, Volkan Oezdemir, Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, and most recently Johnny Walker. In December of 2022, Ankalaev was set for the vacant UFC lightweight heavyweight title, but unfortunately, that fight was ruled as a split draw. His next fight was ruled as a no contest, making the setback even longer, but his last performance catapulted Magomed's name into the title picture. Considering the well-rounded skills that the Russian possesses and his ability to take the fight to the ground, he might be Alex Pereira's biggest kryptonite. Ilia Topuria. After going 8-0 and snatching the Cage Warriors bantamweight title in the process, Ilia Topuria finally appeared on the UFC radar and made his promotional debut on October 11, 2020. His first fight was a one-sided unanimous decision victory, but then he turned into a finishing machine, knocking fellow competitors out to oblivion. El Matador shut the lights off Damon Jackson, Ryan Hall, and Jai Herbert before beating Bryce Mitchell at his own game and ultimately destroying Josh Emmett's face for 5 rounds. Nobody can deny this Georgian powerhouse anymore, so he is set to fight Alexander Volkanovski for the UFC featherweight title next. The great is no joke, and putting him away would take more than a few shots. Nevertheless, this young prospect will only get better, and it's only a matter of time before they wrap that belt around his waist. Khamzat Chimaev. And here is the fighter who does not need an introduction. Khamzat Chimaev has been setting the UFC on fire ever since establishing the new UFC record for the fastest consecutive wins in modern UFC history. His style is simple, taking down the opponents and turning on the ground and pound shredder. Boris is not only a wrestling powerhouse but also a knockout artist, as seen from his fights against Iskram Aliskerov and Gerald Mischer. In the battle against Gilbert Burns, Khamzat showed that he can take a punch and keep going for 3 rounds without slowing down. In his most recent victory, he outmuscled Kamaru Usman to a decisive victory, and even he knew who the main character in this story was. Everybody has been predicting when Khamzat Chimaev will fight for the title, but his time has come, and 2024 will be his year. And do you, fight fans, agree with our selections? Let us know in the comments section below, and thank you for tuning in. We can't wait to see you in the next one.